Diana Kenny, President of the Historical Society.
Okay, is my microphone working okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to start out, before we turn off the lights and start with the program itself, is how many of you here in this audience lived through the tornado? Wow, okay. There's not many that didn't, but guess what? I was a 7-year-old kid running around in the streets of Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Never even heard of Crystal Lake, okay? So you have a great advantage over me. What I have over you is I have the resources to look at all the papers and talk to these cool people. A couple of them are even in the room here. Look at pictures, look at videos and slides and pull it all together. And I hope what I'll be able to do is to give you a bigger picture than maybe what you experienced. You probably experienced, you know, what happened to you personally, and I hope I can broaden it out for what happened throughout the community on that fateful day. So, are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay.
I'm always ready.
Watch this. Okay, Palm Sunday tornado, April 11th, 1965. Going to give you a snapshot of Crystal Lake at that time. The population was about 10,000 people. Today we have over 40,000 people in Crystal Lake alone. Schools, there were 7 schools, 4 elementary schools, 2 junior highs, and 1 high school. And if you look at the names of the schools, they all kind of had like directional names. Since then, we've renamed a few of those after people that have been prominent in the school districts. In 1965, the mayor of Crystal Lake was Louis J. Goosens. The city manager was Al Roth. The chief of police was Elmer Erkfitz. The newly appointed fire chief was Harold Krecker. He's in the audience. In 1965, the Crystal Lake Herald was published once a week on Thursdays. The Elgin Courier News published more often, but still not on Sundays. On Saturday, April 10th, the forecast was as follows. Drippo later. Showers and thunderstorms continuing tonight, low in the lower 50s. Sunday, showers ending in the morning, becoming mostly sunny and warm in the afternoon. High in the 60s. Southeast to south wind, 15 to 25 miles per hour tonight. Southwesterly, 15 to 22 miles per hour Sunday. Oh, if they only knew. April 11th, it was Palm Sunday, 1 week before Easter. Many Crystal Lake residents went to church in the morning, never suspecting how different their lives would be just a few hours later. And then at 3:30 p.m., now today that signal means severe weather is in the area and residents should take cover. However, on April 11th, 1965, Crystal Lake did not have a tornado warning system like that in place. People generally relied on their radios, TVs, or their eyes and ears for severe weather warnings. Less than 1/2 mile from the area most destroyed by the tornado, the Pure Oil Research Center had an official weather station with the following instrumentation: self-registering thermometer and humidity indicator. At 3:30 p.m., it was 69 degrees and 100% humidity. A rain gauge, and at 3:30 p.m., 1/4 inch of rain had been recorded. A wind gauge, from 1 p.m. to 3:25, the wind averaged 18 to 20 miles per hour, with gusts up to 35 and 37 miles per hour. At 3:28 p.m., the gauge went off the scale at over 100 miles per hour, and at this time, the power went out. Pure Oil also had a barometer. At 2 p.m., there was a rapid drop, and at 3:30, it dropped below 28 Hg, which means inches in mercury. And basically that means it went off the scale. Those that heard it said it sounded like a freight train. The following is an interview from National Public Radio. Host Lion Hansen asked about the sound of a tornado.
Time and again, witnesses say tornadoes sound like freight trains. Al Bedard studies tornadoes. He's a physicist with the Environmental Technology Laboratory of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and he joins us from member station KGNU in Boulder, Colorado. Hi, Mr. Bedard.
Hello.
Oftentimes people do describe the sound of a tornado as a freight train going over. Is that how you would describe it?
I think they have in common is that they're extremely loud, but the way that the sounds are created are completely different. Tornadoes have a lot of vocal repertoires to draw upon.
Elaborate on the vocal repertoires of a tornado.
Well, people can hear funnels aloft, so they don't have to be on the ground for a tornadic vortex to create sound. There's a tremendous wind shear in the core of the tornado and instability to run around the core as well. So the vortex can sing in a way. Another part of the repertoire can be when the tornado is actually on the surface, which is the definition of a tornado, and there's lots of shear at the surface layer, so sound gets radiated from that. A lot of turbulence and eddies, all contributing to the chorus, so to speak.
Does debris affect it?
Yes, if you hear telephone wires hum in the wind, a tornado is interacting with structures, debris, trees, also debris being carried up can produce sound.
The Crystal Lake Herald describes the tornado's path as path of destruction. The tornado briefly touched down near South Junior High, today's Lundahl, and skipped along before slamming to earth on the northeast side of Route 14 to cut a wide, destructive swath through the heart of Colby subdivision. Within seconds, it roared across to damage the old Harnisch-Fager diesel plant, Statter wallpaper mill, and Oak manufacturing. When it slashed across East Crystal Lake Avenue and caused vast destruction in Orchard Acres subdivision on Route 31 before heading east toward Island Lake. The width of the tornado's path seemed to be about a block wide or about 200 yards, wider in some areas, lesser in others. The Ivanhill farm on the south edge of town was one of the first to feel the storm's wrath. Fences and trees disintegrated as the tornado stirred up trouble for anything or anybody in its path. And also on the south side of town, Tom and Nancy Riley and family lived in this house on the corner of McHenry Avenue and Lee Street. And here's the Riley's house soon after the tornado hit. An 8th grade student at South Junior High, Linda Benson, deserves special commendation for her admirable and heroic performance of duties as babysitter at the Riley home. Linda was babysitting with Tommy, 4.5, Annette, 3.5, and 2-year-old Amy when the tragic twister passed over the Riley home. She managed to quietly instruct the youngsters to lie flat, face down in a sheltered area of the room, and kept them so until the tornado passed by. The Riley home was severely damaged with the windows blown out, the roof blown off, and walls knocked down. Mrs. Riley remarked that she sincerely felt that Linda's mature judgment and calm attitude helped save the lives of her 3 children. Although Coventry subdivision didn't take a direct hit, there was quite a bit of property damage to some of the newly constructed homes. In the 300-house subdivision, nearly 1/3 sustained damage to roofs, walls, windows, and chimneys. Jeff Ladd, vice president of Ladd Enterprises, declared, "One fortunate aspect of the whole thing was that there were no injuries in our development. The site sign, which was 30 by 200 feet, was tossed in the air like a playing card, and it traveled about 2 miles before it landed."